Chris, hello, hello. Please give an introduction about yourself.
Um, I joined a copywriting campus nearly a year ago. I made first 6 months didn't really make much. However, I contributed most of my success to the copywriting campus. That was mainly
Mhm.
because it changed my attitude, changed my outlook on business, and managed to make 7K in 2 days from it. At the end of the 6 months, like 9 months in.
Mhm. Quite an introduction there.
Yeah.
Let's go back a bit. How did you find out about the real watch?
Honestly, I was like watching Andrew Tate. I adore the man. I can't even lie. I'm a fangirl. But it's like when I seen he was like teaching people,
Mhm.
and I was like, oh, why not get into it? But no,
Mhm.
this is like Hustlers University, but I seen he was releasing a new one, like called Real World. I was like,
Yeah.
I've got to get into it. I was working at McDonald's. I was like, fuck this.
Oh, damn. You were working at
Yeah,
McDonald's at the time. Interesting.
yeah,
So it's like the generic story then of
yeah,
from
no,
McDonald's flipping burgers to 7K in 2 days. Or was
uh,
it? Wait. You said 2 days, right?
yeah.
Damn. Crazy. Okay. So how did that come about? Let's do breakdown there. How did you go from working at McDonald's to landed 7K in 2 days? I'm sure that's quite a story there.
Um, I was working at McDonald's for like about a year at that point, and I was like, man, I can't do this anymore. 6 days a week, £10 an hour. I was like, this is not good. And I seen he was doing his course, and I was like, man, I've got to get in. But it did take about 6 months before I did start seeing anything because I wasn't putting in the hours. I should have put more hours in myself. But once I started putting the hours, you learn a lot from failure, don't you? I
Mhm.
failed a lot. I reached out to a lot of client like prospects, and I kind of got my first client. I kind of got lucky with it. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. But that's when I was like kind of going more, putting more hours in, watching more videos, learning more, and
Mhm.
then I started on 700 a month. Then it would go. I got to 1.5, 2.2, 3, 5, and it just pretty much snowballed it from there.
Mhm. Interesting. And why did you choose copywriting over the other campuses?
Um, well, it was when at the time it was the only one what was service based. I could do it as like not from a product, but from service. Because at the time I believe it was e-commerce, stocks, crypto, copywriting, and I believe they were the only ones at the time when I first joined. But then yeah, I was the one that's service based, and I know I had a lot of spare time after work, so
Okay.
I was putting in 8 hour days after work. It's not a lot, but I was doing another shift at McDonald's. Basically, I'd sit on my computer just typing away,
Mhm.
trying to draft emails, cold calling people.
Damn. And how did you end up landing your first client?
Um, well, at first I was only doing cold calls, but my pitch was a bit shit. I didn't really know what I was doing wrong, and I was like, mate, let me pitch it to one of my friends. Got on a phone call with him. I was like it kind of just like came into my head. I feel really awkward, and it's best best way I can do like scripts and cold calls is pretend you're talking to your best mate's mum. The best piece of advice that I can give to anyone. That's what really made me like switch. So I started speaking to everyone like I hadn't even known them for ages. But when I started writing cold emails out before I'd cold call them, just because it switches like a familiar like if you see a name and then you get a phone call from them, it's kind of familiarity. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So you can get it's not really a cold call. It's more like a warm call. But it's still a cold call, but it's like a warm cold call because I
Mhm.
kind of know you already. It's by those two couple of emails, and so I was calling, and I was like, do you know what? Let me do it. Let me do a couple for free for my barber because actually need to go back to see him. But I was like, let me take over. Let me do some copywriting for you. Let me do some for free. Let me get some testimonials from you, and then I kind of use them in my pitch on my like sales calls. The way I did it was I got me and booked, and I did a sales call afterwards, and I kind of used my testimonials in them. And that's
Hmm.
meant many Atlantic clients was by the doing it for free
Hmm.
until I did get good enough at first.
All right. And what did you actually end up offering to your first paid client and founder?
Um, email marketing, email marketing, and search engine optimization. Search engine optimization was about £75. I got him for, and I made him about our first client I was doing relatively cheap. I was doing about £20 an email. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like,
And how has that evolved since? What are you charging now?
oh, honestly, now I still keep remain kind of cheap because what I see is I kind of like the quantity because I quite like to keep myself busy
Hmm.
because I've got one of my mates, I've got my brother doing it for me as well, and I'm gonna get two of my mates doing it for me as well. So I need to keep them busy as well. So if I can get more in, I'd rather get. It's not the best. I should really be charging more, and keeping with less people. But until I can get the people on my team to a high enough standard, then I will charge a little bit extra.
Fair enough. Okay. And for you yourself, how has your average day evolved then? What does it look like now compared to before you joined the real world?
Honestly, a lot more. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's a lot more boring now. I no longer work at McDonald's. Um, Believe it or not, I just got back from Dubai.
Mhm.
Not tanned at all. Spent most of the time inside. I was too warm, but yeah, it's kind of to give me a lot more freedom. I spent pretty much last year just doing whatever I wanted, but mainly just playing golf. Like I'm a big. I love golf. I love chess. So I was
Mhm.
playing golf and playing chess, and mainly just hit the gym. So it doesn't change a lot. It just gives me more time to do what I want. Because
Okay.
I'm not a big traveler either.
Fair, fair. And the decision to move to Dubai, was that something you were planning before? Or was it purely because you earned the money as a copywriter and you're like, now I have the freedom to move to Dubai?
Honestly, I just wanted to get out of England. It's too cold. I can't
Oh,
lie.
fair, fair.
That's It was spontaneous, but yeah, I just wanted to get out of England. It was a bit too cold for me,
Mhm.
but it did give me the freedom to do that, and
Good.
I can mitigate taxes a bit better.
Right. But we don't say that publicly. It's not for taxes. It's just because it was too cold. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Then what would you say? What was the difference in terms of material then within the real world compared to what you could have found out on the internet?
Um. Well, because I did business in college as well, so
That's a
like
good
I
contrast
can
comparison.
I can well but do you know much about like UK education system?
Well, I did go through the UK
Oh,
education
did you?
system.
You don't sound British
On
at
A
all.
levels, I went to uni in UK, so I'd say I
Oh,
have some experience with the educational system. Yeah.
you don't sound English at all. I can't even lie to you.
What do you think I sound like?
You sound Eastern Europe. I can't lie.
Fair?
But I seen it as like most of my like college teachers. We had five different teachers in one year because they all kept quitting. And I was like, wow, like all the shit they're getting is off Google.
Mhm.
Because I'd Google the lesson and then
Yeah, yeah.
I'd get all the answers for it. So I was like, hold on, what am I doing here? That's about the same time I was joining in the real world. But at that time, I was kind of like, I'm learning a lot more here from like 1 or 2 hours a day learning than I am learning 8 hours a day in college from some old cunt who's a banker, well, ex-banker, not done business at all, fresh out of university, just needing a job. It's a bit shit compared to the real world, which is my opinion, not best. I don't want to spend 8 hours a day learning from a dickhead. Do you know what I mean?
Fair enough. And did you go for any other campuses outside of copywriting?
Uh, E-commerce I'm recently doing, and I've done client acquisition.
Hmm.
Client acquisition, I'd say, is probably one of the best campuses out there as well.
Nice, good. Would have probably helped you to go through client acquisition before your cold calls, right?
Yeah, yeah. If you were doing if you were starting doing cold calls, client acquisition probably one of the best ones to do.
Nice. Okay. And yeah, was there any other income outside of the 7K, or was that the main income?
Not gonna lie, at that point, that was a month before I quit McDonald's,
Cool.
so I was making 1,100 a month there,
Hmm.
and I I was having a couple of sales a month in copywriting, but that was the biggest one.
Okay. Cool. All right. Then, in terms of biggest challenge, I'd presume just getting a client, right? Or is there anything else for biggest challenge when you're implementing your lessons?
Biggest challenge is getting the first client.
Yeah, yeah, I'd imagine so.
That is literally the
After
only
that many
biggest.
cold calls, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Once you've got landed your first one, you've got like confidence in you. You've got the momentum. You're like, I did this right. I did this right. I did this right. Time for me to implement it into the next one. When you can, it's actually no. The biggest challenge is putting. The biggest thing when you fail is not learning from it. That's a hard thing to do when you first do it. It's sit down and actually listen to yourself. Like honestly, I used to record myself calling people and just listening back what I could have done differently. Listen to the objections, what I could do differently, and just implementing it. That's one of the hardest things to do, in my opinion. It's
Mhm.
just figuring out what you can do better, especially when you're doing it by yourself. But when you've got the real world, sorry, one second, I can't stop burping. You've got the real world who can you can send you pretty much can send your voice in there, your cold call pitch or whatever, and they can give you advice on it.
Mhm.
That's
Okay, cool. That's good. And since you're on this trajectory, where do you see your life heading in the short term, medium term, and the long term?
um short term. I don't. I think it's more money. I can't lie. Um, for short term, I don't see anything happening short term apart from just work. I don't know why my light keeps doing this.
It's fine.
The,
It's
sh-
fine.
the short term, I'm just gonna probably work a lot more. I feel like I'm gonna work until like I'm 40. I quite like Dubai. I can't lie, it's gorgeous, beautiful out there. People are so respectful. Everyone's kind. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you, probably the same as England in like pricing, apart from housing. But because you can get food out there cheap, the only expensive part is housing. You have to pay like £1,000 for a shit box. But long midterm, honestly, I'd want to start like by the end of age of 40. I want to have an agency. But long term, probably retire on a beach on Bali or something.
Fair
Like
enough.
I just want to retire on a beach somewhere, mate. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Fair. Okay. And to wrap up, then, for people who are unsure about joining the real world, because they may think it could be a scam for $50, what advice would you have to them?
It's £52. Well, it's $52, mate. Like
50.
realistically,
Not even
oh,
52. 50, yeah.
it's 50. Realistically, it's 5 hours of work. If you think about it like that, 50 if you £50 or 50 hours of work, or 55 hours of work with like your potential from being up here, it's through the fucking roof to losing £50, $50. What are you worth more? Like realistically, well, not let me word it better. There's so much upside potential compared to the losses you can get.
Mhm.
To there's not really a reason you can do it. If you don't learn anything from it, leave after the first month. You're not in it forever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, cool. So, thank you for sharing your experience with the real world, Chris.
No
It
problem.
was an interesting perspective. And yeah, we can end there. We'll look forward to seeing how you progress and how everything continues to progress for you. Could do a follow up potentially in future if you have huge success, and just to show the contrast between now and then. I think
Should
that
do
would
it
be
in a
pretty
year's
cool.
time.
Pardon?
Should do it in a year's time. See how far we can get in a year.
Yeah, any yes sounds good. All right, so all the best to you, Chris.
No problem. You too, mate.